Same thing is
that's
you had a trumped up charge, and
that's
you
not an equal reverse.
I'm just throwing it out there. If the U.S. says, okay, this guy was in El Salvador, and he's one of their El Salvadorian gang members. He got record, but he's not. He's released. He's free. Do you want to let him in?
Well, then you got to say, then what if I'm a Crip or a Blood? And maybe I'm not no longer a Crip and Blood, but now I'm traveling. I left that life. Now that's an equal.
Okay, but so you want to let him in the U.S. and you want El Salvador to let your Crips and Bloods in there. That's what you want?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That will only be an equal correlation. But you're right. If I'm a Crip or a Blood or a former gang member, then you're right. They have a right to deny me. But I'm saying about, like, what if a guy had a drug charge, right? You talk about going to Colombia, right? The biggest cocaine capital in the world. And maybe you used to be a former drug dealer, right? They could deny you from selling drugs when you were 20, but now you're 40 or 50 years old. You serve your time. Or what if you were in a bad relationship 20 years ago and your ex-wife called the police on you? You were a black man. They just throw you in jail for a day or two. But the judge see that this wasn't, there was no evidence against you. He drops the case. They can still see that. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying is sometimes guys, you know what I'm saying, especially 20, 30, 40 years ago, guys got a lot of charges that was trumped up against them. And so are you going to compare them to an MS-13 gang member? Of course not.
I'm going to tell you why I asked that question the way I did. My former brother-in-law, who is Mexican, had tattoos. Guess what? When he came through immigration, they pulled him aside. They looked at all of his tattoos, and he's from Jalisco, the state of Jalisco. A lot of drug activity.
Yeah, we already starting off with the wrong area.
So he was under extreme scrutiny for those tattoos by U.S. Customs. So don't think the United States doesn't do the same thing. They absolutely do.
Of course.
Well,
I mean,
Go
ahead.
Now they let him in because he's a resident, right? And he doesn't have any record here. But
yeah, I mean, he got the double take. He got
examined.
Once over, examined. So I mean, that's par for the course if he's gonna travel and he's gonna continue to rock those tattoos. You know, that's gonna be the hurdle he's gonna have to jump every time that he comes in and out of the country.
Right. But what if I have no convictions, no criminal background, but I have neck tattoos and face tattoos? Could they pull me to the side and scrutinize me for that?
Absolutely. They should.
Of course. Right.
Well, I mean, my thing is this, right? If President Trump were to say, hey, you know what, these are the countries that I'm currently, actually banning as of right now, what would you do? Would you explore other countries, or would you try to circumvent around the ban and try to figure out how to get to those countries? Especially,
this is a big planet. Move the fuck on.
Well, okay, Roland, a perfect example. You have plans to move to the Philippines.
Correct.
Trump, as of right now, say, hey, you know what? Official ban to the Philippines. What are you gonna do then?
I don't think that would actually happen.
No, worst case scenario. I'd have to pick another
country. I had to go to Thailand or somewhere else.
Yeah, hypothetical.
But Thailand's on the list too.
Then I would stop off in Guam. Then I would stop off in Guam. But a lot of people don't know about Guam. See?
Yeah, Guam.
But I would stop off in Guam. Guam looks exactly like Hawaii.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, see, technically they can't quote ban you because that's unconstitutional, right? What they do is what they do with Cuba. They don't allow any commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they restrict the flying, and so now you gotta go around it, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same way with Venezuela, right? So because there's no diplomatic relations, you can't catch a flight from Miami going straight to Venezuela, but you can catch a flight from Miami to Mexico City and then book you another flight to Venezuela or go to Panama, right? And so some guys take that route, but if you do that, you're on your own.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing to say is that, you know, you are taking a risk. I mean, even if our country is there, they have a hard time coming to get you in the first place. They had a hard time coming to get people in our own country. So if you somewhere you're not supposed to be, man, it's gonna be a challenge.
Hey, real quick, let me knock out these 2 super chats. They're both from the same person. Thank you, Just John, for the $1.99 super chats, 2 of them. He said, bands cool so long as I can see my sweetest girls. Don't ban snow bunny countries. Believe me, the only person that will not be banning snow bunny countries is President Donald Trump. He has no problem with the powder people. Okay? He has every problem with melanated countries.
Oh, he's going to get him a new Eastern European wife. I can promise you.
I guarantee you that.
I guarantee.
John, as much as you love Europe, which this is one brother that does travel to Europe on a regular basis, Hispanic or not, you know, you ain't gonna have no problems getting over there. Believe me, those are some of the countries that are not being considered.
But fellas,
let me go back over what you guys have been talking about earlier, though.
Go ahead.
I know with Donald Trump being in office, it looks a certain way, and why I commend a lot of the things he's talking about and what he's doing. And locking down the country, because I anticipated the borders being closed for at least a year while he got his hands wrapped around everything. A lot of other countries has already been denying access to a lot of their places. A lot of countries have already been running background checks and breaking up different trafficking schemes and people that are stealing money out of those countries and using those locations. Like Philippines kicks out people damn near every day. Thailand has been picking people out of their country that have been like the Chinese that are running internet scams and everything else out of their countries. They've been kicking these people out. Colombia started locking down about 6-7 months ago when they did the clock tower thing. I mean, these countries have been doing this before Trump got into office. You know what I mean? It's enhanced because now Donald Trump is doing it.
Ronan, check this out.
Have been shutting this down. Go ahead.
Check this out. There is a group of white guys that hang out in Provenza and Parque Aires, especially at Hooters, in the area of Hooters and all of that. Mm-hmm. And these guys are broke backpackers, and they run all kind of scams and schemes, trying to sell you on real estate, car schemes, any kind of thing that they can. They need to kick them out.
Right. And here's the thing: the Russians, for a long time, if you guys been on Phuket side of Thailand, the Russians have been in control of Phuket for a long time. They're running everything from online prostitution to OnlyFans rings and everything else over there with these Thailand chicks. So, I mean, let's not be totally oblivious to what's going on. You know, with these countries before Trump got into office, and Obstacles just showed up in my room, and he'll tell you BRICS. When we bring up BRICS is a way of just throwing up a distraction to the American people. None of these countries that are involved in BRICS can stand alone on the global economy and support it by itself, let alone some of these countries don't even get along with each other. They're in competition with each other. So at the end of the day, how are you going to dominate the world when it comes to a currency when y'all can't even get along and you're not reliable? You know, that's always been smoke and mirrors against the American people because of what we've done to those countries. They all have a grudge against us for tariffs or whatnot. Those are the only people that are participating in what they would call BRICS. It's been going on for almost 12 years now. They just now came out with a currency. It actually looks like a currency now. And even that, after 10 years, is not going to be stable enough to support what's going on. You know what I mean? But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to monopolize the panel. Go ahead.
No, you brought up a couple of good points. I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying the Russians are doing in Phuket. And I assume in Baraka, Philippines, the Koreans are doing that too. So when I was in Phuket, the Russians had a lot of businesses. They were starting businesses in Thailand, and they were buying up Airbnbs, apartments, and putting it into that business name. You know what I'm saying? And so when I went to Baraka, like a week later, I noticed a lot of Japanese and Korean people were starting businesses in Baraka. And I talked to some locals, they weren't too happy about that. And so there's always ways around that foreigners have been able to invest. You know what I'm saying? Instead of outright ownership, they put it into like I think like deed it into like a company or something.
And there's
I mean,
some
if you got the money, there's a way. And I mean, that's just always the way it's been. You can hire people, you can, grease palms in government. If you got the money, you can get there.
In any country, really.
Yeah.
and now we're seeing a lot of countries putting up their borders harder. Like, for example, England right now, they're putting up, we got to apply for a special entry just to get in, but yet and still our passport gives us free visa entry into a country. And now we got to go fill out another form.
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw that.
they say it's not a visa, but it's basically a visa.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got the new one, that's another one that's going to be coming out for the whole Schengen area of Europe, which basically, again, because we have a US passport, we don't really need it because, again, they say it's not a visa, but it's basically a visa. And then there's certain countries where, certain Middle Eastern countries, certain Southeastern countries, you can't even get a residency permit to go in there because they won't give it to you because what country you from? Oh, you from this country? Nope, we ain't giving it to you. And they're starting to do that with a lot of countries, Spain, Portugal. You Russian and Chinese, you can forget about
that's what America needs to do here. We need to stop giving people free ability to come into our country, buy up our land, and establish businesses without being citizens. And then even after being citizens, they need to be attached to somebody that is a native-born American.
Yeah. I think a lot of international people have come over here, and especially, talk about the West Coast, where a lot of Chinese are out here, that a lot of them came out here and bought land, and they parked their money in land, or like they don't live in the house or in the property, but they bought a property for $2 million or whatever, and they're just sitting on it.
Yeah, they do that in China too. That's one of the Chinese biggest things is buying land and holding it as a retirement. That's why when the market started to crash over there, they had a big problem to where they shut the banks down a couple of years back because everybody was rushing to the bank to try to withdraw their money when the major corporation, just like in 2008 here, they had a crash over there real estate wise, and a lot of Chinese people wanted their money out of the banks, and it would have crashed the Chinese economy. That's what I'm saying. These countries look one way, but they cannot support BRICS.
As far as traveling, everybody's getting really strict with their borders right now. And as far as this travel, man, I want to see how interesting this thing is going to get. But as far as, us traveling outside, he's going to run into some legal problems with that. And right now, he's already dealing with some legal issues as it is with some of his rulings.
Yeah, a lot of this is just initial fanfare because the court system will catch up to some of these executive orders and say, no, you can't do this.
Yeah, because, the rule of law is still going to remain in place.
Right.
Hopefully that he, actually listens to the rule of law. It's funny that you mentioned that because there was a guy on CNN the other day talking about, there's never been we're kind of approaching a gray area where President Trump, even though he's executive branch and he's butting heads with the judicial branch, and they said, hey, this has only kind of ever happened one other time before, where the judicial branch forced the president, which was Nixon, to provide the tapes of his, scandal of what he was involved in, and he had turned those tapes over. But in this case, Trump, if Trump says, hey, I'm not going to listen to the courts, what are you going to do? Well, they're not going to send his attorney general over there to arrest him. She's on Trump's team. So we're in this area where we hope that he still abides by the courts.
Well, here's the thing. The American military, for one, is not just going to go all willy-nilly because there's still held to a code. There are checks and balances in play in the government. There's certain things you can say, and there's certain things lawfully. I don't give a damn whether you said go drop a nuke on something, but if it didn't warrant it, because there's procedures, SOP, standard operating procedures in place, then that's not going to pull the trigger because Trump says go drop a bomb. There have to be processes in place before that can happen. So yes, he can sign all the executive orders he wants, but if those processes circumvent something or circumvent the Constitution, then yes, there's going to be pushback. There's going to be all kind of hearings, and certain things will just not fly.
But you know what, Ronan? I think, and this doesn't really have anything to do with travel, but this does have something to do with your point. Even with that birthright citizenship, I think he's going to get a lot of pushback from, like Congress and the Senate on that. I don't know if he'll be able to get that done. Some people say yes and others say no, but that's something that they haven't resolved in since the 1800s. I don't think he's going to be able to just force everybody to vote on that. So I don't know.
Well, that it would take to change the Constitution. That is a constitutional item.
Yeah.
Yo, can you
go
hear
ahead?
me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yo, shout outs to everybody. Number one, and shout outs to you, Simplify. But as far as the whole thing, I think people just they're not listening. Every time he signs an executive order, the person says, the reporter, "Oh, you think that's going to pass?" And he's like, I don't know. We got to argue, but I think we got a solid position. So he knows that what he's signing is not automatically it's going to be challenged. Like, they talk about it as he signs them. So he's like, I think we got a good case, but we'll see. We'll take it. They'll file their claims. We'll file ours, and we'll see how it maps out. So I guess that's what happens when people don't understand the steps that come after that. They see him sign an executive order and say, oh, well, he's just doing it and it's going to happen. No, he completely understands. Maybe some of the things they will challenge, maybe they won't challenge some things. It just depends on each executive order that he's signing. But that's just how it is. So he knows that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna keep my paper straws.
Hey, but some people get lazy. They don't challenge certain things. So like you said, he's going to sign as many executive orders, like Obstacle said, and he's going to see what sticks. And the ones that people pay attention to that they don't want to stick, then they're going to put a fucking magnifying glass to it. And if it doesn't stick, Trump basically says, I'll see you in court. We'll go ahead.
Well, let's be honest.
Got the Supreme, so that's pretty much another level, just the highest level.
Well, some of that doesn't fly either. Obstacles, just a little pushback because even
facts.
Yeah, when he was trying to get some things thrown out of court, even on his own behalf, they were like, you got to sit there.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. So checks and balances, right?
He is a businessman, and you got to remember, businessmen want to negotiate from a position of power. So a lot of this is a flex to say, let me see what kind of deal I can get.
Correct.
Right? He's leaning on them, applying pressure so that he can get a better deal on the trade situation, right? That's a big part of it. And when you're a businessman like him, he wants to get as much as he can get for as cheap as he can get it. So a lot of this is kind of like hitting a reset and saying, all right, I'm knocking all the, take off all of the avatars or pieces off the board, and I'm starting fresh. What can I get?
I equate Trump to the old shell game back on the block. You put the ping pong ball under one of the shells, and you start mixing them all around. Go ahead and guess which one it's under. There's a lot of misdirection going on here, and he's the king of social media and media, period. So what you see is half of what he wants you to see.
And I want to know when Americans, when y'all become so sweet, why y'all got so much sugar in y'all tank? We United States of America. God, oh my gosh. Y'all, I'll be listening to dudes, they be sounding like sensitive. Like, what are we talking about? Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Thailand, Mexico, Costa Rica, Philippines. What they gonna do to us?
We can't stay. Kidding me. You're right. We cannot stay.
You gotta be kidding me.
Out you there and you ain't supposed to be, you going home.
Not only that, I mean, yes, that of course, right? That's their culture. They're a little bit hegemonous with that. And I'm not hating them. It's their country, whatever. I don't care. But the point is that we can't flex. We're the United States of America. Y'all been too goddamn humble for too long. That's why the world's taking advantage of you for goddamn too long. They like, dang, they waking out that slumber. They really talking their shh. Just like the people who said we ain't gonna accept this plane, then they folded. Then the people in Canada, they folded. Everybody's folding. Why? Because we got the military might, we got the bag. People so stupid. They be talking about Canada purchasing United States. Canada's not worth more than Texas. What are we talking about? They're not worth more than NVIDIA, a company. Like, come on, man. So at the end of the day, we got the power. We got it. He's using it differently. Yeah, he's doing hard power, but we've been soft power for a minute now. So that time has ran its cycle. Now we have a time of hard power. Y'all need to get some stomachs and get some patriotism and wake up to reality. We have the power, so we just couldn't use it.
But you know what, though? It's not that they're fighting against these smaller countries. That's not the issue. He's trying to negotiate with these countries that have better trade deals because the persons that we're really fighting against are the ones, it's China. China is the number 2. So even though some people say China number 1, I still think we're number 1. But China's right behind us. And China, if he goes up 50% on tariffs, China going to give them a sweet deal. So our real competition right now is China. And that's the whole reason with the Panama Canal. China was putting businesses on both sides of the canal. And that's why he sent Marco Rubio in there to hold the Panamanians to the original agreement that they wouldn't allow any sovereignty to have dominance over the Panama Canal, because secretly they were allowing China to do it. And so my issue with, like we mentioned, I don't think we're so sensitive about like Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Thailand, and Mexico. It's the combination of all of them swinging to the left and start spending their money with China.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but I think that's people at home working at Subway thinking that they could fight China because they've been on the internet for a bit. And what I'm saying is it's massively complex. And you think you know something? Man, shut up and run for president. Go into the CIA. Go into these goddamn organizations that you say you got the answers. You're at home eating Cheetos, Fritos, and Doritos and McDonald's. And you think that you can govern this type of deal where one of the most powerful nations that human history has ever seen combat another culture that has kept their generation alive for over 5,000 plus years. And you think that you could just come up with an answer and it's that easy. It's not. It's vastly complicated. In China, you might think that they're doing good, but they're doing dirty, dog. They're committing just as much atrocities.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So both of them. Both entities are. So I think it's massively complex. And when people are just sitting at home in the rear with the gear, they're like, well, you can track more honeys with bees and with honey than. And then it's like, really, bro? You think that's going to, fight a geopolitical war against 1.5 billion Chinese people versus one of? Come on, man. It's like, it's hard, it's complex, and I don't even know the answers. So at the end of the day, Biden did his thing. We see where that went. I'm not saying good or bad. He had the rock. Now Trump got the rock. And I think at the end of the day, we'll see. I think it's just a hard thing to figure out. And I don't know the answers. Damn sure I know everybody at home don't know the answers too. But I think nations also, they see China and they see what China has. But, America does have that long standing support. That's why everybody, when they get scared in China with their money, what does it run to? USD. What is everybody's money? Nobody's running and putting their money in, Chinese yuan. They're putting money in USD. It's just been a powerful, long, political, stable country. As much as we don't think that as Americans, most of the world respects that and realize that in time of, distress or disaster or national state security. So they might have some, things that they don't prefer that we do. But I'm telling you, if you live in Asia, you don't realize the hate for the Chinese. Right. You live in Asia, and then you'll learn very quick. We just in America thinking like, everybody love China because we have this weird relationship that we love them because, TikTok came out and Red Note came out. But outside of that, people in the region, like Japanese, they know about China. India, they know about China. They've been at war before we ever existed as a country.
Philippines can't stand China.
Philippines, right? They've been at war with those people before we were even created as America.
And they're fighting over the ocean right now.
Facts.
So China is not in the best position. So I don't know why people think because they're the number one exporter, they're doing well. We prop them up to be the number one exporter. Our companies can rip that away from them at any given time and move it to India. And matter of fact, that's why BRICS won't stand each other, because India is involved in BRICS, and India is their number one competitor to steal some of that business in production away from China.
You know what I want to see, Ronan?
Here's the funny part, bro. Wait, could I just add this real quick? Because I just want to add on what Ronan just said. And the funny part, I know people always hear me promote Elon Musk. I say that mostly because you guys fail to see that China is a very hegemonist, closed-off market. But there's only one company in the world, not Google, not NVIDIA or anything, that is allowed to have 100% ownership in China. You know what that company is? It's Tesla. The only reason it is because Tesla has a supreme level of manufacturing like nobody else. So even if China, we cut off the purchasing of goods from China, they have massive amounts of production ability, but they don't have a demand in the world. Africa can't just start ordering the same amount that we ordered off of Amazon from freaking Alibaba. You get me? So all those factories would be useless. There'll be nobody out there to be able to purchase. So again, that's like you. If we all stood up and boycotted a company, the company is no longer stronger. It has no customers. It still has expenses. It still has assets. It still has inventory, but they can't push product because people decided not to buy from them. So we have the same relationship in their ability to produce to cut it off because we're the largest consumers in the entire planet. Most nations build up their entire production line just to satisfy us. They can't keep it up locally. So again, if we highlight that and we have somebody like Elon Musk that could create manufacturing to the highest level available, then we could easily create the production that we lack today. But they can't easily supplement the demand and the consuming of the production that they have. So they're at a win-win, and this is why they still negotiate with us, and they're still level-headed with the relationships with the United States, regardless of what happens.
But you know what the question is, though? Even if he creates manufacturing and he brings jobs, do Americans want to work? That's the essential question. Like,
well, the type of jobs he's bringing, like he just opened up the battery location in San Antonio. They just bought up a whole bunch of land right around San Antonio. He's probably moving SpaceX to Texas. Okay. Especially if Trump pushes the whole race to get to Mars thing, which is right up Elon's fucking alley. There's going to be high-end types of jobs. Why do you think he's pushing this H-1B1 visa, trying to get Indians over here to get, because there's going to be high-end jobs available. So you telling me Americans won't train up for that high-end job that's going to pay them six figures, which they want to get paid anyway? They don't want to work the fields. Yeah, let the immigrants come over here and work the fields and let us go and get those high-paying jobs.
I understand you. I understand you, Ronan, but here's where I disagree with you.
Okay.
I think most Americans I don't know if I want to. The vast majority of Americans of the working age that you're talking about for those tech jobs, they're not being raised, or
you're saying aggressive. Just say aggressive.
Culturalized in the same manner that the average Asian child is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so,
yeah, you're talking about STEMs. Kids aren't being pushed towards the STEMs arena, and they're just not ready for this massive increase of technology.
Right, because they don't have the prerequisites of the math and science, and they're not spending the amounts of hours and time in study and schoolwork. They're hey man, they come home from school and playing video games, bro. Yeah. That's not. They don't.
I agree with you. I agree.
You're not gonna get there from here,
right? But that's the problem. Those parents that care and those parents that invested their time with their children, those children are going to excel. And I'm sorry that there's been 4 generations of single moms and moms that don't give a fuck about being bad bitches and all this other shit. And unfortunately, that's the way of the world. The strong will survive and the weak will fucking perish.
You're right.
So let them fucking perish. What did Kevin Samuels say? Die alone with your cats. So what? If those kids don't want to step up to the plate, they don't need to be around. We can just spoon that genetic material right on up out of here, because half of them shouldn't be here in the fucking first place.
But you know what, Ronan, though, I'm in the classroom, so I see it.
Right.
You know, if you get one or two kids out of a whole class that want to go into STEM, you're doing good. A lot of the kids, they're built differently than the way the kids of the Generation X was. You know what I'm saying? So you got to realize a lot of the parents now are millennials, and they're raising the Generation Z and the Generation Alpha. And a lot of these kids don't have that stamina and that durability to want to go after those jobs. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It seemed kind of bleak, but and then I kind of got issue with, are those companies going to want to invest into training up American workforce? Because right now it's cheaper to get cars made in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Like Ford shipping their cars to Mexico to be built. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, Elon might be doing that for Tesla and batteries and solar panels. But what about the other American industry? There's a lot of American companies like Chrysler and Ford that are built on foreign soil. And I know Trump is trying to tackle that too, but that's also an issue too. American brands being bought.
But you know what? All it takes is a simple push, just like the Chinese did. Chinese started making their people study STEMs. So with the advent of Trump closing down the federal level of education, what if the state level says, look, we're, instead of doing training for necessarily just education, we're going to bring back what? Trade jobs. We're going to start training you to handle robotics. We're going to start training you to get into mechanics. We're going to start training you for those jobs that our state needs to be able to provide in order to benefit. What if they turn all the schools into those? Is that a negative thing or a positive thing?
I think that's positive. And then, you know, I would just add to that is it's just as of now, like that's where we're at now. But you know, innovative companies that challenge the order, those companies will not be able to survive throughout the, you know, innovation. Just like a lot of other companies couldn't just keep up with EVs or Translate just because of their production line, not necessarily because it wasn't profitable. But again, I think that, you know, companies like especially Tesla, they prepare individuals so you could take like, you know, a 6-month course instead of going to college, and then they'll get you up to speed of what you need to learn in order to be on their assembly line, and then you input it into the company. And that's a direct thing. Also, he has, of course, sites where they're teaching STEM and MIT or TIT. He calls it TITS, but he thinks it's funny, but Technology Institute, and then I forgot the last word. But net, at the end of the day, it's going to build out. It's going to take some time, but of course, once we're in the danger zone, then we'll do it. What I would say to most Americans is again, it's always self-accountability. You're asking Trump or whatever president to do for you what you won't do for yourself. You know Ford and GM have not been faithful to you in any shape, form, or fashion, but you continue to buy their cars. So it doesn't make any sense. You get what I'm saying? You continue to provide funds for the drug dealer on your block. It's just like, we can't help you. You know, Trump can help you so much, but you have to help yourself. And that's what happens when, you know, cultures like Brazil put money behind their local grocery store and not in the Walmart. Walmart could not survive. So again, if you put money in the companies, you have power and you're consuming in your dollar. But most Americans are not held accountable for their own actions. And then it makes no sense, because then you want, hey man, Ford, they backstabbed us. They went overseas. Well, why you still got a goddamn Ford? Why we got Americans running around asking for if BYD can be brought into America. Like what? At what point? They got no factories here. Toyota don't neither. It's like, and you keep buying the cars though. Well, I want my choice. Okay, cool. And in your choice, you give those people more power that's not going to provide you with jobs and resources and infrastructure and investments in your community. That's the trade-off. Fucking Cambodia gets it. China gets it. Taiwan gets it, but not America. So you either got to buy a brand that says made in America or face the backlog of it. But it's not two-way street. You can't just hold the corporations accountable and don't hold yourself accountable. We got to hold both ourselves accountable at the end of the day.
Think about this. Back in the day, if a lot of people didn't look at six-figure jobs, they looked at steady employment. So the good jobs in our community was what? Go to work for a fucking steel plant, go to work for a car company building cars, or be a postman. You know, the loftier goals was be a doctor or a lawyer if you could attain that. But a lot of them just get steady work. That's the way it was. Now everybody's got these lofty goals that are unattainable. If you just bring back trades in the and schools and teach them, look, this is good, steady, hard ass work. I mean, plumbers make over $100,000 now. Get the fuck up out of here. Why? Because nobody wants to fucking be a plumber. Think about it. If all we did was look for the jobs that are consistent instead of trying to even go to the STEMs if you didn't want to go STEMs, we would still be better off than what we are right now. But we're not even doing that.
Hey, salute to the panel, man.
What's going on, bud?
Salute. Hey, man, let me just piggyback into that whole Asian thing and Indian thing. So when I was in college and I was taking like physics 3, man, bro, I remember it was all Asians and Indians. Not even white kids was in that class. Not even white. It was all Indians and Asians. So the point of what I'm trying to say is like these cultures, they pursue STEM because they know STEM. You get one of the best stable jobs in the market. They're not going to college to major in women's studies or gay studies or whatever. They're going to college for STEM because their parents, when they were young, their parents were teaching them, you gotta be an engineer, you gotta be a doctor, you gotta be an engineer or a doctor from an early age. While American kids, they will play outside playing baseball, basketball, whatever. Man, these people were studying. Why do you think Indians, when you look up when you go to ESPN and when they have that spelling bee competition, why do you think it's dominated by Indians? And it's like STEM. They love these fields because they know it's gonna pay better. That's why Elon Musk and Trump, they trying to increase the H-1B visas because Americans are not educated enough to do these kind of skill jobs.
Yeah, but their base MAGA's pushing back on that because the thing is, if you're sending black and brown people, or illegal immigrants back, but you're steady trying to import more people from India and from South Africa and other places, people who are pursuing these STEM degrees or STEM fields, then, of course, their own base is saying we want less immigration and not more. And so that's always, even with like Elon and Trump, that's going to be a big issue because, Trump wasn't on that wave his first 4 years. He didn't get onto that wave until Elon became part of his administration.
Facts. Yeah, so, I definitely agree with that. Trump was when he first ran, he was against legal and illegal. But then Elon Musk started donating to his campaign, and it's like he shift. So now Trump is a pro legal immigration, H-1B1 visa, particular. The reason why Elon Musk wants H-1B1 visas because he wants to bring those H-1B1 visas employees and work them to death because he knows Americans, they will complain or move on to the next job. Where if you were H-1B1, you can't just simply just go to the next job. You with that company until they extend your H-1B1 contract, you're gonna be with that company for the time being. It's not like something that you can walk off of. So that's why
that's an interesting point of view.
That's why Elon Musk wants the
Nah, man, that
H-1B1.
joints be
No, no,
that
no, no,
joints
no,
be
no,
so
no, no, no. Just
inaccurate.
look it
Wait,
up, bro.
you just said your part. You just said your part. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
say mine. Most people who work at Tesla and SpaceX are just white Americans. That's facts. Most of the people who work in SpaceX can't be illegal immigrants or H-1B visas. He's actually being sued because he wasn't hiring people for H-1B visas because, quote unquote, they can't file for security clearances because of their citizenship or, excuse me, their visa. So he's being sued for actually complying with the security rules that don't allow nobody who's unless they're American and naturalized to do that. So SpaceX out the window. That's one of his companies that has a lot of employees. The second is Tesla. And Tesla is a bunch of just white Americans. So he doesn't want to bring in no Indians so he could take advantage of it because that's just not his construct. So at the end of the day, I think people just made that up because they're, fake business people at the second and they're fake investors. So they're like, yeah, if a business does that, they pay them lower wages, which Indians get paid the most salary annually across America because it makes no sense. That's the worst demographic to bring in if you wanted to. They get paid the most, even more than whites. So you make no sense on any metrics of data, but it's just some idea that you dreamed up because you're damn anti-capitalist and you're ignorant and financially illiterate. So you're like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Bring in those illegal immigrants. Like, bro, you're broke yourself. You don't make much money. You don't have much net worth. All Asians on all freaking metrics get paid more than whites, black, and Hispanics. So why would he bring them in? They get paid the most.
Could I pivot back to the travel topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kanal, do you have any recommendations for bars, lounges, rooftops in Mexico City? I know you've scouted out something. Do you have anything?
Did Kanal go to sleep over there?
I think, yeah.
He might be, but and I think, guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up soon. But I'm glad, Pablo Frescobar kind of pivoted to the travel because we kind of got on the tangent about
the politics,
on politics, and we really wanted to figure out, like, is this gonna affect us traveling for the next 3 to 4 years, right? Do you think it's going to affect us? How is it going to affect us? And are we going to have to pivot to other countries if there was a hypothetical travel ban on these listed countries? And I don't even know if I like that picture. I feel a certain type of way about Kanal posting that because I got like all the countries that we like to go. But if you're a real traveler, I think you just going to pivot to a smaller country or a lesser known country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been eyeing Ecuador.
I'm headed to Guatemala. I'm heading to Guatemala next month. So,
well, I've been overseas for 18 years, so what do I know? But I know one thing: travel will still be there. It's not going to change. It's anybody
There's too
saying
much
that
money
sounds
involved.
Like, you're just scary. Like, stop being scary. Grow up. Be a man. Most of these countries, majority of their GDP is tourism. So what?
Right.
That makes no sense. They might pivot in a direction like Thailand. They approved more Russians and Indians than ever, but they're running into problems with that because Thai people just don't like Russians and Indians for particular reasons, cultural differences. So net, they're having to deal with blowback on that. So at the end of the day, Thai people appreciate more expats coming from the West because we just pay and we don't take jobs and try to compete with Thai people and start
they're
building
more
up
open-minded
car rentals and selling businesses. We don't do that. Russians are doing it, which is creating a problem in Thailand. Thai people are like, you're stealing our jobs. Like, you're coming over in our country, taking our industries over. Like, that's not cool. And then they're stealing Russian customers. So they're like, hey, Russians, come us, but deal with Russian companies. So that's not going to fly very long. So again, other people don't move like us. We in the West just tend to enjoy our retirement, maybe just live over there. We mostly still get our money from America. We might make an investment here or there. But other cultures don't do that. They come in here and try to corner the market, which is a problem for a lot of those nationals that live in that country. So we'll be all right.
And so I've talked to Venezuelan women as well as Thai women, and one of their consensus is that they don't like dealing with Russian men like that. One of the consensus is that Russian men are very rude, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not surprising that they're trying to corner the market in these countries. You know, they do a lot of legal stuff too. So I can see that being a problem in Thailand with businesses. I remember seeing like a video. They interviewed Venezuelan women as well as a Venezuelan man, and they were saying that like Russians come over to Venezuela because they have deals with Russia, but like dealing with the men, they're very like rude to them. You know what I'm saying? They come over there to Venezuela and they're very like wholesome toward them and invited, and they act like they own the place. So I don't know, man. They just kind of got a bad reputation in many countries.
Yeah, and I think not only that, like we think we got a bad reputation, excuse me, we don't. Not as individual American citizens and just like people from Europe. We don't have that. Most average people from Thai, Brazil, Russia, whatever country you go into, right? On that list too. They don't care about they're not like, man, I hate you because Trump at this point they're not in geopolitics. They're a taxi driver. Like, man, they're just average people living average lives, not engaged that much. They got some internal stuff that they don't like. That's their business. But mostly if you travel to Kenya, South Africa, Costa Rica, Mexico, they're not going to always be talking to you about some damn Trump or some Kamala Harris. They're just going to be appreciating that you're probably just coming there to spend your money, and they're going to like you.
Well, guys, I think we should probably, cut this to an end because I think Anal might be asleep. And
hold on, let me get this super chat out of here. Darnell Elliott for the $10 super chat. Thank you. He says Toyota has assembly plants in Alabama, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, and West Virginia. Ford, GM as well. It's the parts that are sourced globally. Free trade benefits consumers, and consumers pay less. They spend more. And yeah, Mexico does bring in a lot of the parts that we use.
There's a Honda plant in Alabama too. They got a Toyota and a Honda plant in Alabama, I think in Lincoln, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But so where everybody's going to on their next travels. So I know Ronan, you about to hit.
You already know where I'm going to be in April. Yeah. Philippines.
Yeah. I'm about to head to Guatemala in March. So
Obstacles is over there sitting pretty already in Thailand.
Yeah.
I think he's out by John Tien or someplace like that. And then Buck, where you at?
Right? Get hot. No, I'm just kidding.
Am I close to where you at? Obstacles? You around John Tien area or whatever?
No. I'm in Antarctica.
So you out there by the aliens, close to the snow wall, right?
Yeah. I'm at the end of the world. You get me? The flat earther. You feel me? But yeah. And I'm moving into this nice condo I just got. I'm paying a bit more, but it's super nice. It's got a tennis court on the whole compound, 2 long pools that you can swim into. It also has the sauna, the steam room, the jacuzzi room, meditation room, a yoga room, a fitness room, and it's got a beautiful view over the beach. So you could just see the sunset from your balconies. It's plural. It's a couple of them. And the thing cost me like $1,000 a month.
Nice.
And that's very elite, like very quiet, nice, well-off, affluent neighborhood. And then also it's got like a little putt course so I could practice on my golf on the property. So it has everything like that. So I was like, man, say less, put down the money, and then I'll move in a couple of days. But prior to that, I'm gonna go on a cruise through Asia. I'm gonna leave from Bangkok and go to Vietnam for a bit, going to Koh Samui and then back. It's only gonna be like 7-day cruise. So man, Thailand is on point.
What cruise line are you doing over in Asia? What's the cruise line?
It's called Costa.
Okay.
There's another one called Celebrity, but that one I missed that one, and then I have to fly to Singapore.
Yeah, because I was doing something like that over there too. Are you back, Black Man?
Oh, I've been here. I just been listening, man.
Oh, like we've been calling your name and everything, thinking you done passed out over there, bro.
No. I work 2 contracts, man. So I was working my second contract. So, um,
You
The
there?
Mexican government has announced a historic change. From now on, U.S. citizens will need a visa to enter Mexico. The measure signed by President Claudia ends the privileged treatment that the Americans had crossing the border. For decades, the United States imposed pressure on Mexicans, demanding interviews, visas, and making it difficult to enter the country. While the Americans were circulating freely in Mexico, only with a passport. Now the Mexican government has decided to act with reciprocity. Mexico respects itself, stated a government. The requirement is already in effect, surprising many tourists. Those who wish to visit destinations such as Cancun, Tulum, or Mexico City must apply for a visa and await approval. Experts claim that this decision marks a new chapter in diplomatic relations between countries. U.S. authorities have not yet learned about the change, but the measure raises questions on possible U.S. acquisitions.
Okay. Hey, good on them. Are you there? Black man.
Man, that must they got a female over there, don't they? So yeah, that's emotion. That's some emotionalism right there. That's some emotionalism.
If you do it to me, I'm gonna do
finest.
it back to you. You know,
I'm gonna do it back to you.
hey, what's up, guys? Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, the video I just played. What do you take on Mexico actually enforcing this?
Good on them. Good on them to get a couple extra dollars for visas. You know what I mean? Especially if people are going to stay there longer. If people are going to stay there longer, then fine. Put in a visa, say how long you're going to stay. So then when we start doing stuff to lock down our borders, ain't nobody offended no more.
I agree.
No, like Obstacle says, man, a lot of people are real fucking sensitive around here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, everything that Obstacle said, I totally agree with him. Like I co-signed everything he said about, Americans need to flex their muscle. I mean, we play the soft power for quite some time now, and it's time to flex and call out certain things. So I think the everyday American is not used to that, or is not used to seeing that. So yeah.
What Big Hand say? He said he more concerned about the DR. What? Why? You think the DR gonna close their borders, man? They desperate for money. What you mean?
Nah, they ain't got that female up there, so they'll be all right. They're just gonna deal with us on business terms. But I mean, I'm okay with Mexico doing that too.
He said, "Go on with your sensitive ass, bitch."
Yeah, go on with your. What she say? Maybe we should name it the. She said something like when he was like a Gulf of America. She was like, "Nah, it should be this." Like it's just talking, man. Go rule that country. Go get the cartels, man. Stop talking to us. Go get your goddamn cartels in check, man. You you ain't even ruling the country.
You didn't
Let
push
me
that
talk to
button.
Pablo. Yeah, let me talk to Pablo, man. You don't even rule the country. Let me talk to the cartelians. Let me talk who truly rule that dang country. Come on, man. So now we'll be all right though. The rest of the countries, they'll probably be calm. They ain't really tripping.
What you think, Buck? Global? I mean, Globe Spinner? What y'all think about that video? Yo, these dudes get on the panel and just go to sleep?
I don't know, man. I thought we might be the only one connected or something. Like the way
everybody got weak connections over there. The internet's got gerbils and squirrels, and they don't keep the damn feed up in the damn gerbils cages or what?
Probably they a bunch of they in foreign countries. Those countries probably turned off the internet.
No. See, Black Man travels in Atlanta. I don't know where Buck is, and I know Globe Spinner. He's here in the States.
I'm still here. I know that my Wi-Fi is acting up a little bit.
Yeah.
Globe Spinner's trying to join in as well.
Yeah, I thought he was already in here. It looked like he had connected. Now he's spinning over there. His logo is spinning, and then Buck is notorious for coming on panels and going to sleep. But he seemed all motivated a minute ago. Now he's asleep over there. He had one little piece of gas in him, and that was it. He was done.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. I was hoping if you guys could add your final thoughts to it.
All right. Travel bans. Good thing. Closing the border. Good thing. Backlash. Who gives a fuck? No, it's about time that we had somebody that come in and kind of reorganize and structure some of the things we were giving away for free. You know, with no accountability when those nations were going to do anything for us. You know, it wasn't even reciprocal, the amount of support that we put out there versus the amount of support we get back. So I don't know if Global Spinner's trying to talk, but you're breaking out really bad. Damn. Yeah, that internet is janky.
You know what it is?
I don't know. I don't know if it's my internet or.
Yeah, it is yours. Y'all got storms over there where y'all at? Where y'all at? Are y'all?
There's rainstorms over here.
Yeah, that's probably what's the big interference right there is your rainstorms.
Well, obstacles. Your final thought?
All right, yeah, yo. So just keep moving, keep pushing. Always focus on what you can do, not the uncontrollables. So the thing you could do is focus on the countries that are not on that list, but also, you know, again, build out your life in a way that, you know, you won't be affected. And even if you are, you know, we adapt and overcome. That's what humans did. The story of humanity is evolution and adapting. So no need to strife, no need to worry. At the end of the day, I think everything will be all right, as it always is. Just a little turbulence. Buckle your seatbelts and enjoy the ride.
I agree. Well, Travel, you still there? All right, man. Well, hey, guys, it's a fantastic. Well, I wish you a fantastic Thursday.
USA.
The Lions Den on Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna do Lions Den. I think we had a topic too. Damn it, if I can't remember what it was, me and Phyllis was talking about it. We're doing Thursday night therapy session tomorrow. If you got daddy issues, come join us because that's the topic. You know, so some of y'all repressed sensitive ass ninjas, y'all can come on our panel tomorrow. We got Thursday night therapy session with daddy issues. So,
all right. I'll definitely be there, man. Well, guys, thanks a lot, man. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves, man. Have a great night.
Peace.